All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Emma, and I'm one of the young adult co-hosts. It is my privilege to introduce our speaker for today, Randy. I would like to thank Randy for being with us today for this presentation, and I would like to thank all of our attendees. When you have time at the end, you can take a moment to complete the conference survey in the app. This will help us guide programming in the future. While we have this session going on, please be sure to keep your mics muted, and you can direct your questions that you might have towards myself in the chat. Randy, you can take it away.
Perfect. Good deal. Okay, everyone. So as Emma said, my name is Randy, and I will be leading this little workout class today. And just a little bit about me. I am 24 years old. I'm currently an exercise physiologist. I actually got my certification in 2018, right around the time I graduated from college, or right after I graduated from college. And I decided to go with that certification because when I was actually in school, there was a point in time where I couldn't work out again because I was actually very active, and I couldn't work out for a little bit because of my RA. And then I was taking this exercise physiology class, and our professor was actually teaching us how to prescribe exercise for people with all sorts of conditions. So then I decided to write my own workout program because I was so frustrated that I wasn't able to work out 2 days in a row. And I have been working out ever since. And I'm also a chiropractic student. I actually graduate in April, so I'm almost done with that. And in terms of my RA, I was officially diagnosed at 16, and my symptoms just started at age 10. So it took about 6 years for me to get a diagnosis. Then we can go to the next slide. Perfect. And so, yeah, this is a little bit more of why I got into fitness. I did talk about that a little bit with my introduction, but I did grow up very active. Like I said, I did gymnastics, and then eventually I had to transition to basketball and track just because I got injured during gymnastics. And so it kind of led me to have to pick another sport. And yeah, just as I was saying, I went through this phase where I couldn't work out because my RA became severe and got really out of control. And so then that's just what led me to try to figure out what I could do in order to stay active. And that's kind of what pushed me down this exercise physiology path, and now my love for fitness. Good. So just a little bit about some benefits of exercise, because I feel like we all talk about how exercise is beneficial, and there are some reasons of how it's actually beneficial to people with arthritis. And one thing especially is that it helps to build muscle. And when you build a bunch of muscle around a joint, then that helps to take some of the stress off of joints. And for me, when I'm putting a lot of stress on my joints, then that kind of pushes me to flare up right away. So helping or actually building that muscle has allowed me to take some of that stress off of the joint. So that's very important. And then the second thing that's very good for exercise is that it helps with flexibility and it aids in joint function. So if we're not using the muscles that are connected to our joints, then our joints aren't able to go through their full range of motion that they could otherwise go through if the muscles that were attached to them were a little bit looser. So flexibility is so important with exercising. It's honestly something that's overlooked oftentimes, but just always running down the end of your exercise with some stretches is very, very important to help with your joint function. Another thing is that exercise can help reduce fatigue and ease depression. And fatigue is something that I deal with a lot when it comes with my RA. I'm just always tired, and doesn't matter how many hours I get of sleep at night, I'm tired during the day. And so exercising can actually help reduce fatigue. And since I have been exercising over time, I have noticed that my fatigue levels have dropped, and it can help ease with depression. Another thing that's big with people that have a autoimmune or that's dealing with arthritis or just dealing with a lot of inflammation in the body, then that can actually take a toll on your cardiovascular. So it takes a toll on your heart, your arteries, your veins. And so actually focusing on like cardio and running, jogging, riding the bike, elliptical, walking, all these things can help prevent heart disease as well as diabetes, which are very prevalent in people that have a lot of inflammation in their body. And then the one big I think is really, really important is that weight-bearing exercise can actually help prevent loss of bone density. And this is very important because a lot of people that are dealing with a great amount of inflammation one thing that people do take, or they will take corticosteroids, and long-term use of that can actually diminish bone density. And so focusing on some weight-bearing exercise can definitely help to go against that and kind of help to keep the bones nice and strong so that we aren't dealing with osteopenia or osteoporosis in the future. Perfect. So one big thing is that everyone always asks me on how do I know when I can actually start exercising? And I feel like this is a very important question. I had the question myself when I was about to start exercising. So one rule of thumb that I always follow is don't start exercising until you feel that your arthritis is properly managed. And this is just so to say, if I can paint this picture, as in we all know when our arthritis is doing, it's just kind of like at that increase, just a high level of pain. And then we have those days where we may still be in pain, but it's a little bit lower. So I like to tell people that you don't want to start exercising until you feel that your arthritis is at a consistency of being in that low range and not in that consistency of being in that high range. Because once you start exercising, then if you are beginning to exercise when you are in this high range, then that could actually cause you just to flare up and you feel worse. And then you are not wanting to work out again the next day, or you really just can't work out the next day. So then you're unable to kind of perform that consistency, because that's one thing that's big with exercising, is that you have to continue to do it. And so once you do get to that point where your arthritis is at that minimal level and you're ready to start working out, then once you start exercising, you want to be sure to start out very slow. And you want to gradually increase your intensity after you've stayed at the same level of intensity for 4 weeks. So for example, if we're dealing with cardiovascular fitness, and I have this example written down there for anyone to go back and look over. But if you're walking for, say, I'm just going to start out and I haven't been walking, I haven't been running, I haven't been doing anything for a long time, then I can start out walking for about 5 minutes a day. But I want to do that for a total of 4 weeks. And the reason why I say this is because if you start out walking 5 minutes one day and then the next day you're like, oh, I felt so good, that was no big deal, I'm going to walk 25 minutes. And then your joints are like, whoa, 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 we haven't been moving. We haven't built a lot of muscle around the joint in order to keep some of the stress off of it. So now your joints are upset with you. And then now you're flared up for a few days. And then you kind of get to that point where you think, oh, well, maybe working out is not for me, or I can't work out. It's just something that I'm just never going to be able to do. When really it's just your joints were stressed out way too aggressively, too fast. So I like to say you always want to gradually increase after every 4 weeks, because you want to get to that point where your body is gradually building muscle to gradually take stress off of those joints. And then the same thing with strength training. I always like to start with body weight exercises for about 4 weeks. And then you can start to increase after those 4 weeks to actually using resistance bands. I absolutely love resistance bands because you can start at the very, very thinnest, least resistance or low resistance in a band. And then you can go with that for about 4 weeks. And then you can continue that pattern and go up to the next level after you've completed a full 4 weeks. And this is just very important, just like the cardiovascular fitness, because you want to gradually build muscle without stressing your joints out right at the beginning. Okay, so that is all of my introduction when it comes to working out. I didn't know, Emma, if anyone sent any questions over to you, if anyone had any questions then. And of course, if you don't yet, then I will take some questions at the end of the workout as well.
I do have a question. Would you be able to speak about the benefits of seeing a chiropractor while having arthritis, if it could be helpful, and what those benefits are?
Yeah, so this is something that I'm definitely passionate about. So I love this. So of course, you want to find the right chiropractor, just like you always want to find the right rheumatologist or the right doctor. You want to find the right one. And for me, I've been seeing a chiropractor since I was 10. And for that moment that I wasn't seeing a chiropractor was just because I was just in a bunch of sports. But with chiropractic care, you can actually, a lot of chiropractors now are specializing more in like focusing on like soft tissue work. So focusing on the muscles. And this can be very important because if our muscles are tight, then those tightness of those muscles can actually pull on our joints and can cause extra unneeded stress to our joints. So a lot of like, if I go to the chiropractor, for me, I like to go to make sure I get my muscles worked out. I'll also do a lot of there are also like different therapies or modalities that some chiropractors will use. Like, for example, if I go and my shoulders are really flared up, I don't necessarily go to the chiropractor to have them adjust my shoulders, but what they can do is they'll just actually passively, so I will be relaxed, but my chiropractor will just move my joint in that range of motion that it needs to be in. Because when we're flared up, of course, we're in so much pain and we don't want to move, but still adding in that movement helps the flare to decrease quicker. So I love to do that, or I love to see my chiropractor for that. And then if I'm not in a flared up state, or if I'm not in a lot of pain, then I do like to have get weekly adjustments. That's something I just absolutely love. And I find that very important just because, you know, we do have these inflammatory conditions. And so that can cause our joints not to function the way they should be functioning, either because we're not using them or we're using them incorrectly to kind of, if we're in a lot of pain, you know, for example, if our knee is in pain, then we may limp. And so that can cause our hips to be out of line or our spine to be out of line. So I like to get those adjustments because I know that I'm always taking a toll on my body. And so I just want to make sure my body is in the correct alignment and functioning the way that it should be, so that I'm not causing any extra added stress outside of what my RA is already causing it.
Awesome. Thank you. I got two more.
Okay.
Do you have any home workout program suggestions, or alternately, how do you deal or how would you, help somebody deal with gym anxiety?
Oh, yeah. So this is something that I definitely dealt with too. And the workout that I'll take y'all with through today, it's something that you can do at home with no weights. You don't need any weights or whatever, just so that you're able to do it if you don't want to go to the gym. But in terms of like writing up a workout plan for people that like to just stay at home, if that's something that someone tells me that they like to do, then I just make sure to tailor it to that. And if you feel that you do have some anxiety when it comes to going into the gym, then I'm not the one that tells people, oh no, you have to get over it, you have to go. Because sometimes people just don't like to go. And you can get the same benefit of a workout at home that you can at the gym. And it's just all about preference, and it's all about making sure you have that person that's writing up the specific workout to tailor to your needs, so that you aren't putting yourself in any situation that you don't want to go to. Because for me, if I had anxiety about going to the gym, I'm not going to go, so then I'm just not going to work out. But if someone actually sits down with me and is like, no, we can do X, Y, and Z, so you can do it at home, then that makes working out more fun.
Awesome. Thank you. I think that's all we have for questions so far, so you can feel free to move on.
Okie dokie. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into the workout. So for the,
Randy, sorry, can I just ask you a quick question? Do you want me to leave this slide up while you're doing the workout? I want to try to make you bigger so that people can see you. Do you need it up?
No, let me see. I can actually take a quick picture of it, because I have my iPad to the side, but it's holding a timer up for me. So you can go ahead and make me bigger, because I just went ahead and took a picture. So now I know exactly what we're doing.
Perfect. Okay. Now you are big, so everyone can see you better.
All right, good deal. And then let me just make my computer a little bit bigger, just so that, okay, perfect. So in the workout, I'll go ahead and I will go through. Can everyone hear me from where I am right here?
Yep,
Yeah.
you're good.
Okay, good. So what I'm just gonna do is that I will actually walk through what all of the exercises are, just so that people can know when we get up to them. So the first one that we have will just be arm circles. So whenever we get to that one, it's just going in this motion right here. And so from the side, it's just keeping a nice little circle in your arm. And then I will say halfway through the time to then reverse, and then we'll go backwards. And then the next thing that we have are just squats. And I like to do a little variation of squats so that we're targeting more muscles. So we'll do one where our feet are apart like this, and then we'll take our feet together and then also squat. And then while we're squatting, we just want to make sure we're keeping our chest up, and we're just focusing straight forward and keeping our knees nice and aligned and not going in or not going out. And then our next one we have are push-ups. So if you have any wrist pain or being on your wrists are kind of like it's kind of tough for you, you can either do it where you're on the wall. And so for that one, you're literally just facing the wall like this, and you're doing a push-up going straight down onto the wall just like that. Or you can do it where you're on your hands and your feet, or on your hands and knees, plenty of variations for whatever works for you. The next one we have are just donkey kicks. So this one, if you're just in this position on all fours, all we're gonna do is we're gonna take our leg back and we're just gonna kick it up to the sky just like that. And then I will say switch when we're halfway so we can also target the other leg. And then the next one, since we're already on the ground, we'll do dips. And so with dips, you can have your feet, they're just gonna be out like this. Your bottom's gonna be off of the ground. And from here, you're just going up and down just like this. And if you have any pain with actually being on your wrist, then with dips, you also can just do them like this. And that's just straightening your arms out to the side or to the back, just like that. And then, since we're already on the ground for fire hydrants, for this one, it's just like donkey kicks, but instead of going backwards, you're just gonna go out to the side. So you're just gonna lift your knee out straight to the side of like a 90-degree angle. And then we will have backward arm swings with a forward lift. So from this one, we're just gonna go backwards, and then we're going all the way forwards in the front. So it's just that motion, just like that. And then to finish it off, we'll finish with lunges. And with lunges, what we'll do is we'll just get a nice wide stance like this, and we'll go up and down, making sure we're keeping our chest nice and tall, and we'll switch legs with that too. All right, so that is all of them, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna do 30 seconds for each exercise, and then we're gonna take a 15-second break in between, and we'll go through that 2 times. So if we are all good, and no one has any questions or anything, then of course, if you can't do anything, then no worries, just modify it, it's no big deal. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start.
Wait, we have one question, Randy. Go ahead, Emma.
Okay, sorry. Do you have a modification for the donkey kick and fire hydrants that you are not putting pressure on the wrists?
Yes, so for those, you can do them standing up. So if you want to do donkey kicks, then you can just stand straight tall just like this, and then make sure you're just leaning back just like that. And then for the fire hydrants, for standing tall just like this, you'll just lift your leg out to the side. And of course, if you need a wall, I'm just trying to show you so you can see this way, but my hand's on the wall here, and then I can just lift out to the side like that. Anything else? Are we all good?
All good, thanks.
Good deal. Okie dokie. So we're gonna go ahead and start with arm circles. So we're just gonna make sure we're staying nice and tall. Our feet are nice and flat on the floor. Our arms are out to the side, and then we're just gonna go forward. And we're gonna make sure we're doing that. And then after, in about 10 seconds, we're gonna switch, and we're gonna make sure we're going backwards. So in 3, 2, 1, and switch. And just making sure you're staying nice and tall and keeping your arms nice and engaged. Then we're gonna hold that for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So now we're gonna have this 15-second break. So we can take a little moment, and then we're gonna go ahead and jump into squats. So with squats, we're gonna make sure our feet are nice and apart, about shoulder widths apart. And we want to make sure we're keeping our knees nice and straight as we go to squat, okay? So we're going to start at 3, 2, 1. And we're just going to squat, good. Then together, and squat, good. Apart, squat, and together, squat. Good, we're halfway there. Squat, and together, squat, apart, squat. Good, we have 10 seconds left. Making sure you're keeping your chest nice and tall. And 3, 2, 1. Good deal. So next we're gonna do our push-ups. You can do in any modification that you want to. We're just gonna make sure we're doing them for 30 seconds. And we're gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just make sure you're keeping your chest nice and straight. Your back is nice and flat. And you're taking your time. Push-ups are a little harder for me to continue talking through, so I'm gonna focus on my push-ups. Then of course, if you have any other variation that you wanna do, you're more than happy to do it. We have 5 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Now from push-ups, we're gonna go ahead and get into donkey kicks. Of course, if you're standing, you can do them standing. And if you're all on all fours, then you can do all fours. We're starting in 3, 2, 1. And I'll tell y'all when to switch. Just go ahead and keep engaging that one leg. Make sure you're keeping your back nice and flat. We're going to switch in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to switch. Then make sure you're not having an arch in your back. You want to make sure your back is nice and flat so we can protect it. 3, 2, 1, and stop. Next, we have dips. And you can do them either standing or right here on the floor, like I'll be doing. But it's totally up to you. And ready, we're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Make sure you're keeping your chest nice and tall. And I like to actually let my bottom touch the ground so that I know I went low enough. We are halfway there. Good. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Next, we have fire hydrants. So you can do those either standing or you can do them on all fours, just like this. And then I will make sure to tell y'all when to switch halfway through. Okay, we're starting in 3, 2, 1. Move out to the side. Make sure you're keeping your body nice and controlled, all the way up and all the way down. We're switching in 3, 2, 1. Just gonna switch to that other leg. Good, make sure you keep it nice and controlled. Stopping in 3, 2, 1. Now we're back up. We're gonna do our backwards arm swings with the forward raise. We're gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. To the back, and then all the way up. Good. These you really start to feel after a while. And if you feel like you're not feeling them, then if you have ankle weights, you can add ankle weights to the end of your wrists or onto your wrists, and that'll help to add some resistance. We have 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. And then to finish our first round, we're gonna go ahead and finish with some lunges. We're gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And making sure you're keeping that chest nice and tall. And we're just going up and down. And don't worry, I will tell y'all to switch halfway through. Switching in 3, 2, 1. We just switch and drop straight into it. Good. And we have 5 more seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Good. So that was our first round through. So if you want, you can go ahead and take a quick sip of water. We have a 2 minutes break, so not really a quick sip of water, but you have time to take some water. And then we'll do one more set. And then we'll move on to our last little portion of our workout. Emma, I didn't know if I was allowed to play music while we're working out.
You can play music. That sounds fun.
Good deal. I'll do that for our next round. We have about 1 more minute of our little break. Let's see. Okie dokie. Got about 10 seconds left. I'm gonna jump back into it for our last little set. I think I'm gonna turn the fan on because it's starting to get hot. Okay. So we're gonna start back with arm circles. So we're just gonna stand nice and tall. Arms out to the side. And from there, we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1. Just going forward. In 5 seconds, we're gonna turn and go to the back. 3, 2, 1, switch. Stopping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Next, we have squats. Make sure we're keeping our chest nice and tall. We're pushing our bottoms back. We're keeping our backs nice and straight. We're going to start with our feet apart in 3, 2, 1. And together. Apart. Together. Good, we're halfway there. Stopping in 3, 2, 1. Good deal. Next, we have push-ups. Again, you can do them in any way you want to. Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Halfway there. And stop. Good deal. Next, we have donkey kicks. Again, you can do them standing, you can do them on the floor. We're going to be starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just keep that same leg going, and I'll tell y'all when to switch. And switch. Five more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Now we have dips. So you can also do these standing too, whatever works. We're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make sure to keep your chest up. And you can touch your bottom to the floor. Halfway there. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. And from there, we're going to do fire hydrants. If you want to do them standing, you sure can. And we're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switching in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and switch. Stopping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, and we're gonna do arm swings. And we're going to start our arm swings in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Making sure you're keeping your chest nice and tall and your back nice and straight. Good, we're halfway there. Good. We're finishing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to do lunges. Got about 10 seconds until we get started. Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make sure our chest is nice and tall, up and down. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and switch. Okay, stopping at 3, 2, 1. Good job, everyone. You can go ahead and get a quick sip of water. And then I always love to finish my workouts with some core workouts, because our cores are typically, we kind of ignore them, but we like to finish with just a little bit of core so that we're able to keep our core nice and tight and strong. And I got a picture of that, Emma, so I'm all good with that one. Good deal. Okay, so while everyone's getting some water, I'll show you all the exercises we'll be doing. Let me see. There we go. Okay. So the first one is just crunches. So that's just on your back. Your knees at a nice low 90-degree angle with your hips, and we're just lifting straight up. So those are crunches. And our next thing we have, I like to call them penguins. Some people call them ankle touches, but I think penguins is cuter. So that's just our feet are flat on the floor here, and we're taking our hands and we're just touching the same side ankle. Going side to side just like that. Then we'll have bicycles. So for this one, we're just gonna be here, arms down by our arms up by our sides. No, we're gonna keep them down. And then we're just gonna go just like this, make a bicycle motion. And then our last one will be Supermans. So those will actually be on our tummy. And from there, we're just lifting straight up from the ground, just like this. Our head and our feet. All right. Does anyone have any questions before we get started with our little core workout?
I don't think so.
Good deal. Okay, dokie. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with crunches. And we're just gonna, since it's our first little core workout, we're just gonna do them for 20 seconds, and then we're gonna have a 10-second break in between. All right, so we're gonna start with crunches. We're gonna start in 3, 2, 1. And keep going. 3, 2, 1. You take a break. And from there, we're going into penguins. And we're starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just making sure we're keeping our core nice and engaged. Halfway there. 3, 2, 1. Next, we're going into bicycles. Woo, I'm kind of out of breath. So we're going to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Making sure you're nice and controlled. We want to make sure we're riding a big bike and not a little bike. So extend those legs all the way. Taking a break in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, go ahead and go to our Supermans. Get started in 3, 2, 1. We're halfway there. 1. We're back over for one more set. We're going to start with crunches, and we're almost done. We're going to start it in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're halfway there. 3, 2, 1. Now we're into penguins. Getting started in 3, 2, 1. Make sure you're breathing while you're working your abs. Halfway there. Stopping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and jump into our bicycles. Get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Halfway there. 3, 2, 1. And then last but not least, we're going to end with our Supermans. Getting started in 3, 2, 1. Good, we're halfway there. Good, 3, 2, 1. Woo! So that's my easy go-to full body workout that I like to finish off with some core, because core is very important and a lot of us ignore it. I do a lot of times too, so it happens.
We do have one more question. If somebody were to like have access to any home equipment, or what would you recommend in regards to like convenience or ease of use?
Yeah, so home equipment, starting out, I love resistance bands. I tell everyone that's like, you want to have resistance bands for sure. And then once you get through all of your resistance, honestly, you can keep working out with just resistance bands. But if you want to eventually start to build a lot of muscle, then I say to kind of move into some free weights. But if you're just looking to just stay fit, resistance bands are the best thing to have for sure.
Awesome, thank you.
Mhm.
Let's see. Okay, we have a question on stretching. What are your recommendations?
Yeah, so we can actually go through, I almost forgot that. Well, we can go through some stretches real quick. Since we finished our workout, I like to go ahead and just start out with, I like to just sit with my feet in front of me, sitting nice and tall. And then first I'm gonna focus on my shoulders. So I just like to pull one shoulder over my head just like this. And I like to tackle this one. And when it comes to holding stretches, you wanna at least hold them for 10 to 30 seconds. I like to go ahead and just go with that sweet spot of 15. And then I'll just go ahead and switch. And then from this position, once I feel that stretch, and you should feel it all right here. Now I go ahead and switch and just put my arm across in front of me like this. And with this stretch, you should feel it right here. So this one's a really important one, because sometimes we forget to stretch our arms, and our arms are just as important as our legs. And I like to go ahead and just switch those. And then from there, since my feet are already in front of me, I'll reach up as tall as I can, and I'm just gonna reach down to touch my toes. Then I like to hold this stretch for 15 seconds also. And with this one, you should feel on the back of your legs, like on your hamstrings. And then from there, I'll go ahead and I'll sit like in a straddle, and I'll just reach up tall again, and then I'll reach to one leg. And this one you should feel also kind of in that same spot, a little bit towards the inside of the leg also, you may feel it there. Then we'll go ahead and switch to the other side. And then once we're done with this other side, we're gonna reach up tall again. We're just gonna go down to the middle. And with the middle one, you may feel the stretch more right here, and that's good. Then from there, we're gonna make sure we're stretching those glutes because those get overlooked. And if we're not stretching our glutes, then that can lead to that term people have that experience sciatica. So we wanna make sure we're stretching our glutes. We're gonna cross one leg over in front of us, take that other arm and just push on that knee from the outside, and then just twist as far as you can. Making sure you're feeling that stretch right on your glute. And from there, we're gonna go ahead and switch. And then from there, our last stretch that I do like to do, so we want to stretch our hip flexors because we oftentimes forget about those. And if we're sitting down all day, then that's not good. So my head might get cut off, but that's okay. We just want to go ahead and kind of have a little lunge, bend our knee in front of us, and we just want to sink our hips down just by bending our knee. And we want to focus on keeping that back heel on the ground. So from this stretch, you're stretching your hip flexor, and you're also stretching that calf, because that's very important to stretch too. And with this one, you also can lean into a wall. If I had a wall in front of me, I could lean into a wall just for some stability, but it's totally whatever works best for you. Then once we stretch that one, we're going to switch to this other side here. Nice deep into that lunge, and we're going to hold that stretch right there. Making sure we're feeling it right here and on our calf. And yeah, that is my little stretch routine that I love to do. I hit basically everything that is typically very tight on people.
Awesome, thank you. We have two more questions. I'll just ask you one at a time. Here's the first one. Best ways to deal with stiffness or soreness a day after a workout, especially when that might exacerbate symptoms of arthritis?
Yeah, so what I like to do is one thing is like always to make sure you kind of get into that groove of how to know how much your body can handle. And so if you feel like you did a little bit too much and you are sore the next day, then one thing I like to do is just do a little bit less. And so that it kind of helps with some soreness. But of course, soreness is inevitable, so we may experience it. So after my workouts, after I stretch, I have recently, I know not everyone has access to it, but I've recently been sitting in a sauna, and that has helped diminish my stiffness tremendously. But if you can't, then another thing you can do is actually just like sitting in a warm bath or standing in the shower for a long period of time, just letting that steam kind of override you. It gets really, really hot, but it is worth it. So just kind of keeping your body warm and keeping your joints warm and your muscles warm can definitely help. And then one other thing that I like, I don't have one around me, I thought I did, but a foam roller. And those are just kind of, they're like little tubes that are like this big, and they're just made of foam, and they're like this big around. And I like to use a foam roller to actually roll out onto my muscles. And I wish I know I have one in another room somewhere, but it would probably take me a minute to find it. But you can use your foam roller to actually roll out your muscles, and that helps to kind of push out some of that lactic acid, and that helps to kind of loosen up any knots that could be there, could be forming, that could contribute to some soreness. And then also keeping muscles around the joints nice and stretched out and relaxed helps to kind of prevent some stiffness on your joints. And of course, if you're experiencing some great deal of pain in your joints or anything that you feel is just a lot, then I definitely tell everyone to speak with their doctor, and then you can figure out if there's something that you need to take just for a little bit, and then go ahead and proceed forward.
Is a Theragun something you recommend for soreness?
Absolutely. I love my Theragun. I do have one. I've had one for a few years now, and I've noticed that when I use that one after a workout, even if I'm not sore, I like to use it after a workout, and that definitely helps with soreness the next day.
Awesome. Here's the last question I have in the chat. What should you do to prepare to start a workout program, or how do you get organized for that? What are your recommendations?
Yeah, so if I like to first look at my schedule for what I need to get done for the week. Like if like right now I'm in school, so I base my workouts around school and when it's kind of the days that I don't have that much to do. So I like to just kind of build a schedule and see what is kind of taking the most of my time and how I can fit my workouts around there. And then from there, I try to follow my schedule. But I think some mental things that I like to do is I like to, once I start a workout program, I like to put together a workout playlist so that I get excited to listen to my favorite music. And I also like to find an accountability partner so that I can message that person. They can like know when I'm going to work out, when I'm supposed to be working out, so they can check in with me. And then another thing that I like to do is, it's kind of crazy, but I love to get new workout clothes just so that I'm really excited to wear something new, and just kind of having that schedule is kind of like the concrete thing that you have to do. And then making sure to add some things that'll make you excited to work out. That definitely helps to get you organized and kind of in that motion, that groove of starting to work out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Randy. It has really been an honor to have you here with us for this session.
Of course.
I just want to remind everybody that you can provide feedback on this session by completing the survey in the app. And then also be sure to join the closing general session that will happen at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here with us today. Thank you, Randy.
Of course. Thank y'all. I really had fun.